Pro Middleweight British title bout. It's to be fought in a free 5-minute round. And it's sponsored by Jason Wilson Roofing. In the blue corner, representing Luton Team Crossface, weighing in 84.3 kilos, Denniston, Sutherland.
Denniston Sutherland.
Sutherland, the Dutch and Brazil JJ Academy, weighing in 86.1 kilos, Craig Bulmer.
Craig Bulmer from Sunderland, 22 years old, 5 foot 10 inches tall. His professional record is 3 wins with 1 loss. A very good all-round fighter, from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to a strong boxing background.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Pro Middleweight British title bout. It's to be fought in a free 5-minute round and is sponsored by Jason Wilson Roofing. Introducing first in the blue corner, weighing in 84.3 kilos, representing London Team Crossface, Denniston, Sutherland. His opponent in the red corner, representing Sutherland, the Dutch and Brazilian JJ Academy, weighing in 86.1 kilos, Craig Bulmer. Your referee for the bout is Mr. Newhall.
Denniston Sutherland, on paper, a lot more experienced, with a record of 10-2. Very good all-rounder. Bulmer, vastly improved over the last year. I mean, let's face it, Steve, it isn't just what's on paper, is it?
Oh, certainly. It certainly isn't.
Bulmer, with his BJJ background, also his boxing skills, against a very good all-rounder, Denniston. Excellent kick there, Steve.
Yeah, very fast kick straight away by Bulmer. Sutherland's hands are pretty low. I don't know if he's baiting them in.
You can see how relaxed Sutherland looks there, Steve.
Yeah.
He almost looks casual.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's looking for a clinch or, you know, it doesn't seem to be wanting that. Yeah, he's closing the gap straight away. I don't think Sutherland wants to stand up with Bulmer. Good foot stomps by Bulmer. Shoulder butts. Bulmer's putting pressure onto Sutherland straight away, trying to make him make a mistake.
If you look at both these fighters, Steve, they certainly don't look like middleweights. You know, around the 84 kilo. Just shows how much weight people can lose and put back on for a fight.
Oh,
very big middleweight, Steve.
I mean, the diet is a big part of it, isn't it? Getting your weight down, and you know, well, they're trying to get every advantage possible that they can.
But at the moment, it looks like Sutherland does want it on the floor. Bulmer is good on the floor, Steve, as we've seen in the past, but his striking has really improved. I would say awesome strikes.
Oh, you're certainly correct, Peter. His stand-up is really, really impressive. But, I mean, his ground game's really impressive as well. You know, of a very high standard in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Obviously, he trains out the dungeon with Aaron Nesbitt. But I think his stand-up, obviously, with it being so good, it sort of, you know, maybe shadows his ground game a little bit.
Well, remember the war he had against Lee Keegan from Leeds? You know, that was a war, Stephen, and a stand-up war.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Bulmer is certainly a tough fighter. I mean, you know, he can take good shots as much as he can give them. You know, he's got a very big heart. I mean, he'll not be bothered at the moment that he's on his back. He'll just keep working and look for opportunities to get back up. He's obviously got Sutherland in a half guard at the moment. Sutherland looking for some big shots. I mean, sorry, Pete. I think Sutherland's playing the right game. I mean, keeping the gap closed with Bulmer. He's obviously researched Bulmer's fights, probably watched them and seen that his stand-up's very, very strong.
Initially, when they first hit the ground, Steve, the way Bulmer had his feet in the half guard, I thought he might have even gone for a knee bar. But, you know, pro rules is not as easy as this.
Oh, it certainly isn't. Bulmer's trying to roll him at the moment, Sutherland doing well to keep the mount. Or shall I say a half guard, sorry, with top position. I mean the referees obviously come in, asking him to stand the back up.
Yeah, I think that's very good refereeing by Neil Hall. You know, once... Whoa.
Good shot there by
He's
Bulmer.
got him there.
Yeah, certainly rocked him.
Surprised he didn't follow straight up there, Steve, because he definitely did rock him there.
Maybe he was surprised himself. But Sutherland seems to be spoiling it a lot, like, isn't he, Peter?
Yes, that's what he's known as. You know, he's not the best striker, he's not the best grappler, but he is an unbelievable all-rounder. And he can really tie people up, which you can see him doing at the moment.
He does look like he's got a lot of strength on the floor. You know, he's very strong. He's on you all the time.
Well, if you think, Steve, he has come down from heavyweight to light heavy, now to middleweight. That's a lot of weight he's lost.
Yeah. Obviously, you can hear both corners giving the fighters advice at the moment.
Bulmer looks quite comfortable in the full guard, now into an open guard. Sutherland just isn't giving him a chance, is he, Steve?
No,
he's just tying him up.
Bulmer doing really well to get out of that position.
There's some very heavy blows there. You can tell Bulmer is one tough guy, Steve.
Good sportsmanship there by Sutherland. Pulling Bulmer back up onto his feet.
Yeah, Steve, you know, this weight cutting, you know, I just hope it doesn't start getting even sillier. You know, I mean, they reckon the Americans can lose, you know, ridiculous amounts of weight. You know, people have even said up to 8 to 10 kilos. You know, I hope it doesn't get as bad as that in this country, because it is a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Oh, well, it certainly is. I mean, obviously they're cutting weight, you know, they're reducing the water intake and everything else that goes with it. But they've got to obviously put it back on. I mean, if they dehydrate themselves too much, sometimes obviously it's going to affect them in the fighting ability, you know, just to get down to that weight.
Well, we've just been told, Steve, that Ross Pearson, who won the Ultimate Fighter, has been asked by the UFC to try to make featherweight. You know, he walks around at 80, he gets to 71, no problem. Imagine him getting to 65, Steve. That's a lot of weight to lose.
Well, this is it. I mean, obviously you've got to look at your natural body weight as well, haven't you, in general. Good right hand there by Bulmer.
Yeah, I think standing, you would have to give it to Bulmer. Very strong kicking and punching. On the ground, Sutherland on top is very tight there, isn't he, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, you can see Sutherland's just slowly walking in and closing the gap again. But it seems to me like he's just trying. Oh, Bulmer's on top at the moment now. Good shots there straight away.
Whoa. Needs to flatten him out there. If he flattens Sutherland out,
Yeah,
he could be in big trouble here.
Bulmer looking for a choke.
See, that's the problem with sacrifice throws, Steve, in Pro Rules. If you miss it, you're in big trouble.
Oh, certainly.
Even double and single leg, Steve. If you go for them in Pro Rules and miss them, you're in big trouble. That's why a lot of the pros do rely on the upper body clinch. Because if you miss it, you're still not in a bad position.
Yeah. Well, this is it. I mean, when you step into the pro league, there is a high risk if you land in a bad position. The next thing you know, you're getting ground and pounded.
Especially with the elbows as well to the head. And as you can see there, there's some very telling blows.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. This is Sutherland's game. This is where he wants to be. Just wants to get in, close the gap, and get them down and pin them.
I can hear the referee there saying, if there's no work rate, guys, I'm going to stand you up. With Bulmer being from a BJJ, I'm surprised he hasn't gone for more submissions. Maybe he feels that Sutherland may get out if he does that, as we've just seen there.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, only Bulmer will know at the moment how strong Sutherland is, because he's the one who's fighting him. But he does look like a very strong lad, Looks very strong on the ground. He doesn't seem to be exerting a lot of energy neither. He just seems to just slowly wear you down, Referee standing the two fighters back up.
Well, you can hear in the crowd people cheering when that happens, Steve. Whoa. Telling blows again by Bulmer, followed by a good knee from Sutherland.
Yeah, I can see what Sutherland's doing. He is just trying to sap the energy of Bulmer out of him. He's, keeping the gap closed, keeping his weight on him all the time. You can see it's starting to wear Sutherland out as well.
Yes, you heard Bulmer's corner saying get the takedown. You'd have to, obviously we're not judges, but you'd have to say Sutherland is in the lead because of his ground game, being on top for most of the time. Bulmer looking for a choke, trying to turn Sutherland, but Sutherland's still, forcing the pace, Steve. He's the one that's, got to be very careful here. I thought he was going to go for a suplex there, Steve. Good trip, though.
Went for a leg pick.
I'll say it again, Steve. Sutherland looks very relaxed in there, doesn't he? You can tell that he's had a lot of fights. He looks really, really cool in there.
Yeah, he does look really relaxed. I mean, no offence to the lad, but it doesn't seem to be changing gears a lot. It seems to be one speed he's using,
Well, Steve, would you say that Sutherland is a spoiler? Because at the moment he does seem to be doing that. But Bulmer on top at the moment, some good rib shots. If Bulmer can hold this and repay what Sutherland has done to him, but you can see how Sutherland's hips are moving all the time. Excellent that.
Yeah.
I think Bulmer needs to get tighter on those pins, Steve.
Yeah, you're certainly right. But when I've watched Bulmer in the past, I've seen some good fights from him. A lot of action. He likes to stand and bang. He's fast on the floor. But I just feel Sutherland's he's just, like I say, he's on him all the time and just spoiling it a little, but trying to wear him out.
Well, we're into the third and final round. That second round was a lot closer, in my opinion, than the first, Steve.
Yeah, it certainly was. Obviously now we're going to go into the third round because this is 3 5-minute rounds. fight for the middleweight British title.
It's also good to see, Steve, a pro open the tournament. You know, while normally you would maybe have a semi-pro open the tournament. Two very, very good fighters. As I've already said, Sutherland in the top 3 in Britain and ranked in Europe. Close fight there.
Certainly is, but you know, there's still more to come. We've got another round left.
Good sponsorship there again. It's nice to see that, Steve.
That certainly is. That's what I like about MMA. You can see two guys really hitting each other, really going to town on each other, and then have a drink after. You know, that's what it's all about.
Sutherland is very good at just staying out of reach, Steve. That's going back or going forward.
Well, he's certainly had enough experience to master it, hasn't he? I mean,
Bulmer now a little bit more cautious. I think Bulmer needs now to step up the pace a little bit, because I think he's just behind at the moment, but still very good fight. Excellent strike by Bulmer.
I think Sutherland's just looking for Bulmer to open up a little so he can step in and close the gap. As you can see, he's chasing the ground down on Bulmer, working again against the fence.
Do you think Sutherland looks a little bit tired there, Steve,
I was just about to say that, actually. He is starting to look a bit wore out now.
First 2 rounds he was shooting as soon as Bulmer, well, literally stretched for a punch.
Well, I mean, obviously, you've got to bear in mind, most of our, obviously, fights are usually 2-minute rounds. I mean, they might not be used to this 3rd round, you know. I hope they've trained, obviously, towards it, but it's still got that effect, doesn't it?
Certainly has. Sutherland gets a takedown again.
Some very hard elbows.
Again, Bulmer gains the half guard. I think Bulmer now needs to either get a standing or get on top.
Well, I think it's at the minute, I just think it must be really hard for Bulmer, obviously, to get to the top position, because, like I say, Sutherland just seems very strong. I think it must be like the favourite area that he likes to be on, like in the top position. He must be comfortable there, you know.
Whoa. Nasty dropping elbows there. Those are so... I mean, they're obviously using the forearm, but and the tip of the elbow. That's so easy to cut somebody wide open, isn't it, Steve?
Oh, it certainly is.
Whoa, those are very telling elbows, especially. Well, Steve, we're about halfway through the 3rd and final round. A lot of the fight has been in this type of position.
Well, Sutherland is obviously got the top position, and in the judges' eyes, that's what will count. You know.
Well, he is the aggressor, Steve. Very good refereeing by Neil Hall. Talking to the fighters, warning them there's no work rate. Saying that, this is where Bulmer said he wants to be.
Good right hand by Bulmer. Bulmer's pushing the pace now.
He is pushing the pace, and I think he needs to as well.
Yeah, I think he knows he's got to push the pace now.
Whoa.
Sutherland straight back in again.
I'm surprised Bulmer just didn't push him off, you know, and kept it standing. These are hard-telling blows, these, Steve. He's going from ribs to head, back down to ribs again. You can hear Bulmer's corner saying you must move. Both these fighters did weigh in yesterday, Friday. I was very interested to see how much they weigh in today, Steve, because they are very big middleweights. But that's the game, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, it certainly is. Obviously, the referee wouldn't stand it up at the moment because Sutherland is continuously working.
Well, Bulmer's ribs are going to be very sore tomorrow, Steve. Those are telling elbows and punches. Both fighters are certainly looking tired. Rightly so, Steve. It's been a very hard-fought fight. Bulmer's keeping his elbows very high, isn't he, Steve?
Yeah, I don't know whether he's baiting Sutherland in, though. You
Yeah.
find a lot of fighters do move the hands down or they lift the elbows up to tempt them into coming in. Well, it's over to the judges now, Peter.
Yes, well done to both fighters. Bulmer definitely wanted a standing. Sutherland definitely wanted on the floor. The aggression, who was on top most of the time, definitely was Sutherland. But it's over to the judges, Steve.
Fighters to the centre, please. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 full rounds, via winner by unanimous decision by the judges, in the blue corner, Denniston Sutherland. And let's hear it for his opponent.